Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
What? Sorry. Should I do the? This is Olivia, and I'm doing the intro, so I will start it now. Welcome to the Miles with Moms podcast. We are a podcast for moms who run by moms who run, and that's so that you never have to feel alone while you're running. And that was the best I could do right now.
Yes.
But we are doing a Mother's Day. We're doing Mother's Day special episodes. So we are interviewing a bunch of amazing moms. And so this week we are interviewing Tess CHUPINSKY. Did I say that correctly?
Yep, you got it.
Oh, perfect.
Woo!
Yay. And Tess is amazing. So I wanted to keep this intro short so we can just get right to it. That's obviously why. So anyways, I'm Olivia.
I'm Shanna.
I'm Trisha.
And I'm Tess.
Woo!
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, Tess.
Yes,
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me. I'm so honored.
We're really
Tess,
excited.
I made sourdough today just because I knew we were doing this. I haven't made it in like a month.
Wow,
I
me
need
too.
to make sure. Yeah, it was in honor of Tess.
Oh, that's
Ah.
really nice.
Yeah,
How
Tess got me
anyone could
started
go a
on my
month.
sourdough journey. I know.
She's offended.
I don't know.
She wants to know why Tess.
I know.
I
kept like
I just
feeding
tried
it.
to make a gluten-free starter. We'll see how it goes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I would have never even known
Oh, keep
that's
me
a thing.
posted.
I don't know if it is, so I'm gonna try.
You'll report
That
back.
is awesome.
That is cool.
Okay, how
wow.
long did it take you to make that bread?
Me?
Yeah. Doesn't
Oh,
it take like
you
3
know-
to 4 hours?
Well, it's kind of like a whole ordeal. So you
Yeah.
have to feed the starter,
Yeah.
and it has to be active, and then you make it, and then it has to sit, and it's like. But once you get the hang of it, it's kind of mindless.
Is
Like,
it?
I remember freaking out when I first started doing it, and I was
Yeah.
like, Tess sent me some starter, and I had to grow it and baby it, and it became like my child.
That's amazing.
But yeah,
Your
I've
additional
neglected
child.
her. Yeah.
Wait, so Tess
now,
got
yeah,
you into
so
it? Did
She
did
did.
you tell her about like the starter or how to do it and all of that?
Well, yeah, I kept like watching Tess like make these amazing loaves of sourdough, and I was like, how do I do this? Because it was like amazing, incredible. So she sent me some starter, and then the rest was history. Yeah.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah. Yes.
That's impressive. How long have you been making sourdough bread, Tess?
Probably like, I don't know, 3 years or so.
So like before
And I
it was
have never run out of sourdough bread.
That's impressive.
That's
Do
wild.
you make them by like batches, like, and then freeze them?
Yeah, I do like 4 at a time. So you typically like 8 loaves per week for our family.
Dang.
Yeah,
That's
Oh
crazy.
my goodness. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
it is.
I mean, she does have 5 kids, you guys.
True.
That's very normal with the loaves, but
Yeah.
that's impressive that you make that many. Like that, we have a friend she makes it religiously, and I'm like, that's a full-time job that I don't have time for. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow. But I love that she makes time for it, and it's like, because I go and buy it, I don't make it from scratch, and we
Yeah.
go through about that many loaves a week. It's
I
crazy.
would totally believe
And
that.
it really is, because I always said the same thing. Like, I don't have time for that. But once you do, it's so mindless.
It's a
like,
lot
and it really,
easier.
it does not take that much effort.
Yeah.
And I think too, if you stay home, it's even like easier because you're at home and you can be doing it. Whereas like if you're working, you really have to do it on the weekends.
That's
Mhm.
So
That's why I haven't been making it. Because
yeah,
I'm like, I don't know.
yeah, it's
I like
it's a time
couldn't
commitment.
find a time to play. Yeah.
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 But it's worth it. It's so
Maybe
good.
maybe she's gonna influence us all to make sourdough bread now.
You won't regret it. You
We're
won't
gonna
regret
You
it.
won't.
It's not the same. Like even buying like I buy from like a local, and it's like it's still not, the quality is still not the same. Like when my friend brings me a loaf, it's something about that hot and ready. I don't
Oh, yeah.
hot and
So
ready.
good.
You're talking about Little Caesar's pizza.
What are we talking about?
Pizza, and it's you who buys it.
Hot and
Hot
ready.
and ready. I don't know. Sounded a little suspect to me.
What?
Here
Oh
we
my
go.
God.
A couple minutes in. Under 5 minutes in, it already gets sexual.
It's pretty impressive. 5 minutes is a long time to go. Okay. Wow.
That is.
Wow.
All right. Well,
Alrighty.
it doesn't take more than 5 minutes to have 6 kids, so to make 6 kids, clearly. They're like, let's go. Very busy.
Listen, on the weekends, the night before a long run, it is less than 5 minutes. Okay. we got goals. We got goals the next day. So
We got
it's
shit to do.
He has goals as well. Okay.
No, you don't.
Yes. You set
Oh my
the
gosh.
stopwatch. And go. Under 5.
Carl's advertisement. It's not just good for running; it's good for other things.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I hope my
We got
husband
off
doesn't
track
listen to this.
fast.
It's like the one episode he will listen to.
He's like, "Excuse me, it's 6 minutes and 30 seconds."
Oh
Right.
my gosh.
I go well beyond 5.
Oh man. Well, I have the mother shout out, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop into that before I'm sure we dive into some questions. Does that sound okay?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
this mother shout out is from Leslie Lawton. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. Shouting out myself, mom of 3, and my oldest and youngest have medical issues requiring multiple surgeries, hospitalizations, feeding tubes, and up many times a night. Have been running my whole life, and running brings me peace and sanity and all that I have going on. I just finished my 16th marathon, Boston, and at age 42. I really wanted to PR still in the marathon, even though I don't sleep much and my training is somewhat limited due to very little time for myself. I so want to prove to myself I can still be competitive and show my children what hard work and dedication can result in. Love your podcast. That is,
Yay. That's
Aw,
amazing.
That's awesome.
seriously, like anytime I ever complain about a hard week, I read messages like that and I'm like, shut up. Like your
Yeah.
life
Right.
is not that hard.
Wow.
Yeah. I know it's always
Ah.
very, very humbling. And I always try to remember, we all have our own versions of hard. But then there are the people that deal with, the medical version of that, of their version of hard. And it's very, very, very humbling. And we have to remember how lucky we are and stuff. So,
Yeah,
Right.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Amazing.
yeah. Well,
So I am going to introduce the woman of the hour here, Tess. So Tess is a 35-year-old mom of 5, runner by early morning light, entrepreneur, and homeschool mom by day, reader by night. Because you crush books.
You
It's
do.
another thing
Oh
that
yeah,
inspires me.
I'm addicted.
So after achieving her 10-year-long quest to get to Boston, she has sights on eventually breaking 3 hours and chasing 6, 7 stars. I love she loves the place that running takes her, on the brink of her limits, breaking barriers and discovering her truest, strongest parts of herself. She uses a combination of her morning routine with the Run My Life journal that she it's amazing.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It is. And uses running to help her mentally and emotionally be the best mom that she can be. And we all know if you follow Tess, you do an incredible job at just that.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Aw, thanks.
We've talked about your journal obviously a lot, so yeah, it's exciting to have you on here. Was it a 10-year journey to get to Boston?
Yeah, I started it I think age 24, so I guess technically
Oh my
11.
gosh.
Wow.
And then I failed the 2 times, and then I had a bunch of kids back to back, and I just couldn't see marathoning fitting in that, especially in the midst of 2 under 2 multiple times in a row. So after the last one, then I got back to it, and then I ended up qualifying and did it. So
That's so
which is,
awesome.
I never thought I had kind of given up this idea of marathoning and motherhood, and so it was really cool to find myself and get back to that after being a mom. So
That's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah,
Is
I think
Neely still your coach?
yeah,
Neely?
yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Oh,
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, so I've been with her since Thomas was born, 3 years now.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome. She's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's awesome. Super knowledgeable.
yeah.
What is your backstory, Tess? I would love to hear like how you started running, like what got you into running. I want to say it was your dad, right? Or I want to
No,
hear your backstory.
well, it's really not that interesting,
No?
actually.
Yes, it is.
I know.
Um, I always like ran like to lose weight, or what we did when we were in our like early 20s. Or I guess I was like 18, whatever. But I went through a really tough breakup, and I was like, I'm going to train for a half marathon because that's what one does when they're going through a breakup. And that just kind of started my journey. And, half marathons lead to marathons. And so, yeah.
That's
That's awesome.
crazy. So
Very cool.
so did you grow up like playing any sports like your whole life? Because you're like a very talented runner. Like I know it's been like a 10-year ordeal, but the times that you're producing right now and the workouts, even watching your workouts, like you have some underlying talent there too, along with your hard work. I'm just so curious to know, like, were you ever in sports growing up? Did you do anything competitively? And then like the half marathon, why the half marathon? Why not like the 5K or like the 10K? Like I'm so like, why the marathon and the half marathon distance? Like that's so crazy.
So I did play like basketball, volleyball, those kind of sports growing up. I would say that I mean, yes, I'm an okay runner, but I also feel like I work really, really
No,
hard to
totally.
like maintain those paces. Like if I didn't maintain training, I would be like slow, or compared to me. Like I feel like I have to work to do that. But I think I forgot the question now.
And then
Why?
why the half marathon? Sorry, Trisha.
Oh,
Were you?
I don't know because I feel like I've always been kind of a go big person. Like
Yeah.
it's all or nothing. Like, and so why stop at a 5K or a 10K? So
That's
yeah.
Awesome. Well, to the majority of the world, making it to Boston is like a big ordeal, right? So like the fact that you did that off of like no like childhood running career, no high school running, no college, like I think that's like that should help our audience dream so big because you do work so hard. Like seeing you on the treadmill with your whole group of people around you, I'm literally like, Tess does it. Like she does it. You find your reason, you find your way to show up, and you could have every valid reason to not. And I think it's so impressive that you show that side of motherhood that like, hey, I am a homeschool mom. I'm a go-getter. I have my own personal businesses and I am doing the best that I can to make the season that I'm in work for me. And I also love too, like your approach to training. Like I feel like you're not a high mileage person. You're not doing crazy, insane, like amounts of like workouts. Like I love that your approach of how you're doing it, like it fits your season of life. And I don't know if that's kudos to your coach or your guys' open communication with each other, but I feel like you make it look like it's possible for moms that are in the same season as you. Like, I don't know. You guys feel like that? Like, yeah, I feel like you make marathon training look possible.
So when I
Right.
like first like signed on and was working with Neely, that was like my one stipulation was like I'm only going to run 3 days a week. Like
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
train me to what I can train in 3 days a week. And so she did. She, put together a plan. And for the first marathon that I BQ'd, granted it was a downhill race, but
Still awesome.
I ran it on 3 days a week. And then like since then, as I've come into my own and have gotten more comfortable with being away and taking the time for myself. Now I've like worked up to 4 and 5 days per week. So, but when I started, I was at 3, and like that was just like, I always say that we all have like an infinite or wait finite amount of energy to spend, and we're all like putting it in all these buckets. And when I started, that's all I had for running. So that's what I did.
That's awesome. I think that's so great for people to hear that you can actually achieve goals, because I think we're all putting out there that everybody's running every day and nobody's like even showing their rest days, and it shows like, sometimes you post something later on. Sometimes you post like I sometimes post things on like a Sunday, but I never run on Sundays. And so I think if you're not like actively looking at somebody's, like studying like, oh, they must run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you know.
Yeah.
Like you would never know how much somebody actually is running unless they talk about it. And so because that's a big question I think that a lot of people have is like, how do I train for a marathon? Especially working people who work full time or work in like a hospital setting and are working 12-hour shifts or 24-hour shifts or something like that. Like that 3 days a week really is maybe the max, even if they wanted to do more. So the fact that you were able to BQ off of 3 days a week is wild. That is so cool. And I love that you're sharing this whole journey, especially because I think the fact that it started 10 years ago is also super relatable, just because, you know, it's so amazing when people BQ on their first race. Like that's awesome. That's so cool. But like I love seeing when it's like, this is my 8th attempt and I finally got it, you know, and it's like, it's huge, you know, like it, I don't know. It's just that whole highlight reel of like what people post. And so it's good to see the other side of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's raining.
Did you ever get nervous like when she gave you the 3 days a week? Did you ever get nervous like, is this even possible? Because I wonder if you like, I'm curious to hear, like, did you ever have like a comparison issue where you're seeing like these other people out on social media hammering 5 to 6, 7 days a week? And those are the ones that we probably see are hitting the BQs. Did you ever have like that, like self-doubt of wonder, like, am I doing enough? Or like, how did you like overcome that, like to stick with your plan?
I think I took it from the mindset of like, my goal is just to do the best that I can on this amount of running and to be proud of that. She knew, you know, her plan on training me, and she told me what she thought I could run, and that was like really what got me excited. And so to know that that number was possible with the plan that she was giving me, I was pretty happy with that. You know, I will say that like social media is hard because you do have to like stay in your lane and just focus on you and understand that like your goals and your journey are not someone else's goals and their journey. And so I like, obviously I think I have those feelings from time to time, but I really, really try hard to like look deep on like where I'm at and what I'm trying to accomplish and not compare it to other people. At the end of the day, it's like, it's a marathon time. Like, who really cares? Like, you know, like we
Such
take
a good
this
point.
so seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Right.
so true. It's I love that. It's true because like we do take it so seriously, and at the end of the day, like it's funny because I goof around about just about everything until it comes to marathoning, and then I'm like, I'm very serious, and it's like that's why I have to like laugh things off all the time about like even yesterday I like cried for a second, and then I was like, why am I like, let's move on. I have a really long drive. Like it's just so funny. And like at the end of the day, like our main purpose is to be moms, you know, and our kids, especially we all kind of have young kids. They don't care. Like they don't care about most of this stuff at all. They're not like, like Grayson his main hang up is still my clothing that I wear to run. Like he can't stop talking about it. I'm like, hey, do you want to bring this medal to show and tell? And he's like, nah, no. Why aren't you wearing underpants? Under your shorts. Still concerned about it. Like it's the end of the year. Like get over. And yeah, so it's just so funny. Like we do take things so seriously, but I think because so much of it is related to like inspiring others. Like that's why we share our journeys. So, but so okay, so you ran 2 marathons before you had kids.
Yeah.
Okay, and then your first marathon back after kids was when you did Mount Charleston?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That
That's
is
wild.
Yeah.
crazy.
But I was running the whole time, and I was training for half marathons the whole time, and I had a coach. Like, I think my goal, like between each pregnancy, was like, okay, fit in a half marathon before you get pregnant again. And so, like, I was training.
awesome.
You know, I just like had tabled the marathon.
So
I think like that matters, right? Like like I worked within my what I had, what I could do, and for a while it was just half marathons, and I really think that helped me when I came back to the marathon.
Oh yeah, definitely. So
Oh,
did you
sure.
run while you were pregnant and like postpartum and in those years or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
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 Like I ran a half marathon at 20 weeks pregnant,
Crazy.
pushing the stroller.
You did?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
That's wild.
What
Yeah,
did
you
what
have some
did
pretty
your
good clips. Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're okay. Go ahead.
Oh, like you have some really awesome clips that you share from time to time running when you were pregnant.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
run through all of your pregnancies?
Yeah. I mean, they were all just like a little bit different, but for the
Yeah.
most part, I ran until the end in all of them. And, you know, it wasn't anything impressive, but it was just like one foot in
Oh,
front
it
of the other
is.
type of thing.
Yeah.
It is.
Right.
Yeah, it's because
Yeah.
it can feel so heavy.
Yeah.
You're carrying
Yeah.
a basketball in your stomach. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it can be very awkward to run while pregnant. So
Yeah.
that's very impressive.
Yeah.
What did your schedule look like during the time of your pregnancies? Like your running schedule? Did you have a running schedule, or was it kind of just like today I'm gonna fit my run in type ordeal?
All of my like pregnancies and postpartums were different, depended on like where we were at in life. I did do a lot of training with the stroller
Okay.
until my third. Because obviously once I had
Yeah.
my third, it was I had a triple stroller, but that was like I was
Yeah.
practically
goodness.
walking every run, like it was ridiculous. So I did a lot of running with the stroller until my third, and then when I had my third, I kind of like lost my zest for running between like I think I had a little touch of postpartum depression. She was a terrible sleeper. Then my dad died, and
Oh my gosh.
I was running like maybe 2 times a week. I ran a half marathon, but it was just very with a friend, like at her pace. Um, and then yeah, so they were all a little bit different. And then I feel like I really like got because I had such a hard time after my third was when like I got pregnant with my surprise fourth after we were like, we're done.
Oh my course, right?
Oh my gosh.
I am not kidding you. Like we had this conversation. We're like, okay, you know, I think we're pretty tapped out with 3. Like, let's be done. And then, like the next week, it was a positive pregnancy test. And I was like, guess
Oh
not.
my
Wow.
goodness. That's wild.
He's so special though, so grateful for him.
Oh.
But when I was pregnant with him, I like made a promise to myself that like I would hire a coach and get out of the house for runs, and
Love
because
that.
that was hard too when you're breastfeeding and trying to like leave the house. But I knew I needed that, so then I set the goal to like run a 1:35 half, and you know worked towards that. So
Can
yeah.
you talk more about that time too? Because I feel like that was kind of like a pivotal point in your life in terms of like journaling and your whole metamorphic morning routine. Like that's when all of that started, right? Was
Yeah.
like when your dad
Sorry, you
passed
talked.
and
Yeah. So, yeah, I like I was just going through it. My third was 6 months old, and my dad had passed, and I was already struggling with postpartum depression, and then he passed, and I was just in like a hole of grief. Um, but you know, and it went on for like 6 months, and I finally like got to this point. I was obviously pregnant, and I knew I was having another one, and I didn't want to fall into postpartum depression again. Like I knew my kids needed their mom, and so I'm like a part of this like small group, and they were like, you know, why don't you try gratitude journaling? And so I did, and I really like started seeing a difference. I literally just needed to find some like glimmers in my day. I felt like the world was crashing down on me, and I think I already had kind of a negative mindset as it was. Like I was kind of like a glass half empty type of person, and I don't want to say like victim, but like didn't take as much personal responsibility as I potentially could have. And the journaling just really changed that entire perspective for me. And I actually think the journaling led me to be able to like come back and, you know, be a better mom, run marathons again, take what I needed from my marriage to like take that time for myself. Like in all reality, my husband would have never stopped me from going for a run with friends. I would stop myself because I would tell myself I wasn't worthy of it, or you know, I didn't want to stick him with the kids. It was all like a me thing. And so I think it just really helped me gain confidence do a total mind overhaul. And obviously that led me to creating my own gratitude journal with like habits and a planner and all that. And that's what kind of led to the Run My Life journal. And now I'm afraid to quit. I'm like, if I quit journaling, I'm gonna go back. I can't go back. So now we just do it
That's
for
awesome.
insurance. We're like, we're not gonna go
Yeah.
there.
It is addicting. And that's
Yeah.
another like I feel like Tess has inspired me on so many fronts with sourdough and journaling. I mean, was huge for me, just going through a really tough time in my life and ending my marriage and going through, I mean, it was a rough time, and that's when I started to journal. And it was like all from you. So I like can't thank you enough, because just those couple minutes at the beginning of the day to like you said, looking for any kind of glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
And even still now, as I'm dealing with a lot, just like looking for just a couple little things that can make such a big difference to start the day. So it's amazing what you've done. Like you really
I
have.
love that. Yeah. No, but I truly believe it too. Like you have to be intentional with it, but I like really think it helps. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about it. Like,
Yeah, I feel like you set up a
Right.
journal that's approachable for everyone, because I mean, what, like our first like 2 episodes, I was like, I would never journal, never. Like, to organize what's going on in here, that would be insane. But it's like it's like just laid out perfectly enough that even I can get pen to paper and, get it done, which is so nice. And I do notice, like, I notice a significant difference in how like my weeks are laid out. And because right now I can basically focus on like the tomorrow, and otherwise it's very hard for me to plan things. Like when people even say like, we should do this in a couple of months, I'm like, I don't like you capitalizing on my time, but if I can just like put it in there and be like, text this person on Saturday and respond to it, it honestly, like those things, they help so much, and because running has always helped me organize my thoughts, but it all goes away once I'm like off the treadmill. So
Olivia, what's going on next to you?
it's just, I made her put on underpants. It's a miracle they're on. Okay. She is just like a very, like, everybody's like, no, you never post pictures of Charlotte anymore, like my family and stuff. And I'm like, can't. She's naked all the time. Instagram, even when she has like a tutu on and you can't see anything, Instagram like will be like, no, you cannot put that one up. So yeah. So she's just, she's just a lot, but she just removed herself from me for a little bit. So that's good.
That's so funny.
I didn't even notice what she was doing. As long as it's not the dog, I'm good. 'Cause otherwise, you'd see me just launch an animal across the room.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's no rest.
Well, I think we should go into like, what does your day to day look like? Obviously, it's going to be very different. I hate when people ask that question. They're like, "What does your day look like?" I'm like, "It looks different every single day."
yeah.
What do you think? But like, what is like a typical day kind of look like for you, or how are you able to squeeze your training in? And then maybe we'll also talk about your husband's support, like how you guys bounce off your parenting with each other, because I think your husband's pretty busy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I typically wake up probably like around 4 to 5 a.m. and then my goal is to get out the door at 6. I feel like I'm always like teetering that. I'm like 6:30.
Yeah.
Wait, what time does he have to go to work? We need to go by 7. Like, and then I've like recently realized, I'm like, wait, sometimes he doesn't leave till 9. I could actually start my run at 8. Like,
You
Nice.
my goal is to get out of the house by like 6:30. Usually my run is an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer. And then, you get home and we kind of hang out a little bit, maybe have a cup of coffee together. I get ready and then we'll start homeschool around 9 or so. And then we typically do homeschool until like 11. And then the afternoons are kind of filled with kids' sports. I have like a mandatory hour of reading for myself in the afternoon. So I like take that, but then I like ever since we got the foster baby, work has been on the back burner. Like I'm
Sure.
fulfilling orders and that's about
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
comes back to that energy thing where I'm like, I can't, like, I used to send out emails and work on marketing and have that other Instagram, and that's all like, I'm
Oh,
like,
well.
Yeah.
I focus on, Tess CHUPINSKY Instagram, and then, I fulfill the orders, but that's kind of the extent of work happening because a lot of like work is happening inside the home with the 5 kids being
Oh
at
my
home all day.
goodness.
So
I can imagine.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
wild. How old is the baby that you're fostering?
6 months old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gosh,
You are
that's
like
yeah,
cute.
that is
yeah.
so sweet. Wow.
What inspired you to foster? Like, I want to hear that backstory. Like why the
Um,
foster care route?
so we had always like, I was always like, I'll have 4 kids, and then after we decided that we were only gonna have 3.
Right.
Yeah.
We had 4, and then I was like, I am done. Like, no more babies
Yeah.
are coming out of this. And I said, if down the road we want to adopt, we can potentially adopt or something. And so I had looked into like adoption agencies in like Africa and that kind of thing, and kind of never followed through with it. And then I met a really good friend through Harper's dance, like her competition team. One of the moms had all these kids, and turns out she had like fostered to adopt them, and she had like a foster baby at the time. And I was like, "Oh, I want that baby." And so Spencer and I went through these classes for like 7 weeks, and I always joke that, like, you know how like there's one person who like presses the gas pedal in a relationship and the others like pressing the brakes. Well, Spencer and I are both on the gas pedal, so like
Oh
we
my
don't
gosh.
know how to stop each other.
Oh.
So we ended up going through with it, and then the baby we have now, it actually wasn't the baby that I originally had like wanted, but he also came from her. And yeah, we took him in as like an adoptive placement. He was like needing a home to adopt him. So we brought him in, and that's actually been like a little bit of a roller coaster. But I'm still hoping for that. So we'll see.
So crazy.
Oh, wow. So you may end
Good.
up adopting.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind
Wow.
of the plan when we brought him in. Yeah.
Got it. I was gonna say
Yeah.
it would be
Wow.
so hard to care for a baby, like a baby, and then have
Yeah.
to, say bye at some point.
Yeah.
And like without, I mean, circumstantial, obviously, if that was the case, it's like, okay, like what are the circumstances that that's in? But I don't know anything really about how adoption works, especially, I feel like the only I know 2 people who have adopted, and it's always been, um, through Ethiopia. So they both
Oh, yeah.
2 separate people,
So
but
cool.
just both. Yeah. And so that's obviously a whole different thing. So that's amazing that you're doing
Yeah.
that. That's so
Yes.
amazing. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you seen like any family dynamic changes, like as far as like your normal routine bringing in that 5th kid? Because I feel like that's the biggest adjustment. Like, I mean, whether you have the child or you are fostering, like bringing another child into the family mix, it's like, oh my gosh, you're trying to figure out from square one, like, how do we do this again? So have you had to go through, I mean, this was pretty recent. I'm curious, like when you started fostering, and then like, have you been able to figure out like a new routine, to add that extra child in?
Yeah, I think I kind of underestimated that a little
Yeah.
bit maybe. And you don't give yourself the same grace. Like when you're postpartum, you kind of clear your schedule, right? And you've got all these people coming in to help you, making you meals and like doing all these things for you. But when you just like get a baby through like the foster system, people don't show up like that. So,
Crazy.
and you also just
Oh.
don't give yourself that same grace. You're not like down and out, like you just birthed a child. So you're like trying to go about your normal day when like there's been this huge interruption. So that was definitely that took getting used to, and I'm still getting used to it as I said, like, I'm finding it very tough to like get back into work and growing the business versus just like maintaining the business right now. And I've had to just like be okay with that because this is the path that we chose and what we wanted. And so it's all good. But the one thing I will say is that, like, as far as running goes and maintaining my routine with that has been a lot easier because he's formula fed, obviously. I didn't have that like pressure and weight of like pumping or breastfeeding. And it's very easy to hand him to my husband. And, you know, my husband has no excuses now. So.
That's so great.
You know, they love to like, oh, he's hungry or they're hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Happening this time. So.
Oh, by the way, he's also poopy, so
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I feel like you should have just thrown a baby shower. Just been like, I have this foster baby. Here's the invitations. Here's my registry. And yeah, I honestly would have. Or maybe when
here's the
like,
meal train.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's the sign up. It's like do my own sign up genius and be like, I love these meals.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
actually
like,
genius.
Little
Like
Caesar
make up
pizza?
a name, like a fake name.
Yeah.
I'll send you some Little Caesar pizza, Olivia. Okay,
Are you kidding me? I would have.
not even Domino's. Not
Not
even.
even Domino's. Oh, that's
What
awesome.
about, so you and Spencer, you seem to have like such a good partnership and understanding of one another. And obviously like you're such a good team and being able to make it work. And he freaking like, he comes out with coffee at the end of your runs. Like,
Yeah.
here you go.
Yeah, how did you train your husband? We all want the
Yes.
answer.
Right. Does he have any single brothers?
She's like, yes. He actually
Yeah.
does.
Light bulb.
Just came to me.
He actually does, but I don't know that I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna leave it at that, just in case.
Oh my goodness.
Smart.
So I feel like a lot of this, like, I think marriage is not easy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think we all know that. Like, and I think a lot of it comes down.
Yeah, Trisha, tell us all about it.
It's a breeze when you.
She's like, it's a walk in the park.
Yeah. I love life. Anyways, yes.
So,
no, it is not. It's not easy.
I did see like a big changing in our marriage when I started journaling. A lot of it was like my own perspective of things and this idea of like, you only control yourself. You can't control other people. I think like if I had to be honest, like maybe I had like a controlling personality in general, like not that I controlled him, but like just, I don't know. So, and then I think the other thing, like, we read like the 7 Principles of Marriage book. I say we. I know I read it. Who knows if he actually read it?
That's funny.
But it was very eye-opening, and it was really, really good. But I think that and just this like, you know, we have like a mutual respect for each other. And I think it comes down to like a mutual respect and a mutual communication. And really like working on yourself. And I think at the end of the day, we've been really lucky that we've both been on that journey for ourselves. Like we've both been parallel, you know, because that doesn't always happen. And to both be on the parallel journey, and, you know, he's obviously just a good man in general. So that helped. But so much of like, I feel like our marriage now has come from like coming into myself, growing my confidence, and like just changing my personal mindset. And I think like, you know, we've fed off of each other through that process. So yeah.
That's awesome.
I love that. I will say that since I started journaling, well, I write down the things that I'm grateful for that my husband does, because then it helps me not
That's smart.
focus on like
It's 2 points.
I'm like, I am racking my brain daily and asking ChatGPT, But no, I'm just kidding. But I'm like, it helps me not like point out, like, because otherwise I think it's really easy to just be glass half empty, right? Like it just simply is easier to do that and be like, oh, this is so frustrating. Like I wish that it was more like this, but it helps me see the other side of things, right? Like, yes, he may not do these things, but he does all of these other things, and let me shine some light on that. And so that's helped me a lot. Like, and because journaling is hard for me to be like just so self-reflective all the time. Like I just, ooh, otherwise it's like, oh God, why did I say these things? Just all the time. So yeah.
No, I feel like that's like the exact way to do it. To, if he's annoying me or he pissed me off about something, instead of like focusing on that, I'm like, okay, well, he did do that, but he also did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And like that's very, very helpful because none of us are perfect. And
Yeah.
like, if he gets mad at me about something, or if I got irritated with him, it's like we both probably feel that about each other sometimes. So it's like instead of like focusing on it, just focus on the good.
Yeah.
So
I think it's been so helpful, just the other perspective of it. And yeah, because I think, I don't know, it's not like this way that I'm like constantly focusing on him or whatever. I'm very defensive myself. So like if he tells me something, I'm like, no, I was like this. You have to see my point of view, and he's not like that. So it's it's just a really good way for me to help almost be like defensive for him, because that's how my brain works. Like I have to understand why people act the way that they do or do things the way that they do. And so I love that you actually pointed that out, because that's a huge part of me trying to be a better person.
I think like the other thing too is like intimacy matters too.
Yes.
Like that guy makes me make out with him every single day for like
Yes.
he tries for like a minute. I'm like, you got 6 seconds, buddy. But
It's true though. It really okay, TMI, I'm sure, but this is a mother runner podcast. I mean, we do run, you guys, but no, like I feel like when you go like a week span with little to none intimacy or more, okay, maybe there's people out there that go like a month. My husband would never let that fly.
No way.
I mean, you go like a week span. You do notice the difference in your relationship. It's like your relationship starts to shift over to, like, everybody calls it that roommate, right? We talked about this before, the roommate phase, hey, here's my friend passing by the hallway. We're just telling each other what the kids need. That's pretty much it. I mean, we had this past week. That was our week. I was like, oh, by the way, did I tell you that one of our twins got into a fight at preschool? And he was like, no, you didn't tell me that. I was like, well, here's what happened, and it was like a few days later. And I realized like we just both have been just so busy, consumed with like our schedule and our kids and things like that, that we kind of fell into that roommate relationship this week. And it does, intimacy, just like it brings you back. It's the biggest difference with marriage, right? Like that's what separates you from all your other friends, is that connection, that intimate connection with that person.
And in any form, like intimacy in any form, like it can not just like in the bedroom,
holding hands, touching each other's feet. Like if you're not a cuddler, you touch each other. Like feet on feet. I'm not like sitting there. No. Listen, I have a lot of people on Instagram that want pictures of my feet, okay?
Yeah, you're like, these are in high demand. In this economy,
wow,
just do it. Like,
yeah.
No.
Right. Make a couple bucks.
You did, Tess, you did talk about leaning into, like, you started building confidence, like, with yourself and things like that. Do you feel like you and like evolving into who you are today, with whether you're running or your journal business, things like that, do you feel like that's helped also your relationship with your marriage? Because now you have an identity outside of being a wife and a mom. Like, have you felt like a shift with that, like as you've evolved as a person, that it's helped your relationships around you as well?
Yeah. I think like to what Olivia was saying about like being defensive, like I feel like I also used to be very defensive, and like it's hard when you're in the middle of like raising babies and being in that phase postpartum. So I don't know like how much of it was being in that season of life versus like the work that I've done, because they kind of coincide together. Like I started my journey of like really working on my mental and emotional health like as I was having my fourth baby. So like how much of that is like this postpartum period and then being out of the postpartum period, I'm not sure. But I think like so much of, you know, your relationships has to do with you and the way you see the world. And so I think the way I saw the world, the way I saw him transformed through that process. And I think that that's made a big difference in marriage too. He always like does this stupid joke where he's like, you know, people will ask like how long we've been married, and he'll be like, oh, you know, what is it? Now I'm gonna ruin the joke. Anyways, it's something like
He's like in his gratitude journal, like, Tess did these things today.
Yeah.
it's like 10 years total, but like 6 happy years or whatever. And like, anyways, whatever the stupid joke is, like the happy years continues to increase. So it used to be like 3 out of like 7. Now it's like a solid 7 out of 10. So it's like getting better.
Good.
So funny.
That is
It's
hilarious.
also like relatable, right? Because that is true. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he journal too?
no.
That'd be awesome.
But he
That would be
is
awesome.
part of like he does a lot of like self-development. Like I think he's a part of like this, you know, forum, YPO forum, which is like a business group, but they talk about like marriage and family and like all that. So I think like that's offered him a lot of growth in his own way. So yeah.
Cool.
That's
I mean,
so
it
neat.
always helps when you're like surrounding yourself with like people who are trying to be better. And like I said, I think
Definitely.
both of us being on that path makes a big difference. So
Definitely. Does he run?
no.
Okay. I always am like, when people go out for runs together, I'm like, how do you make that happen?
Yeah.
He's an Ironman, so he has done an Ironman, but
Oh my
like I'm
gosh.
always joking that he like our first date was a run at 5 a.m. But let me tell you, that guy does not get out of bed until 7, and he does not run. So it was all like
False
a
advertisement.
hoax to get me. Yes, total false advertisement.
Oh my
But he's
Yeah.
like, did he race you last year in a sprint?
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't beat him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. It's
Yeah.
okay.
It's always a 50-meter dash. Come on.
Right.
I
That's all they
know.
got.
Always pick the 50-meter dash because they know we're just about to get going and they're already there.
Right.
He still got you?
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Is she frozen for you guys?
Frozen.
Yeah, she's frozen
Yes.
for me.
Here, can you pause the recording? Or
Yeah.
no? Yeah.
Pause, yeah.
So Tess, you just finished Boston. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then maybe like what's next for you?
So yeah, I went to Boston and definitely did not go as planned. I kind of, went through the emotions of that. I was like I was like running, and then I got like completely delirious, and I didn't even realize that I was like so close to the finish line. But at like mile 25 or like 24-25, I pulled over because I was just like, I'm gonna puke. And then the crowds are so like, it was right when the crowds are like so crazy and like lined everywhere, and I pulled over to puke, but there's just people everywhere, and so I just kept walking to find like somewhere else to go. And then I finally get to an aid station, and I like find a trash can, and then I like, gross, but I just like burped up something, and that like relieved me. And so then I was like, okay, I guess we're gonna run again. And then the race was over, and I was
That's
like, oh
wild.
my gosh, what just
Wow.
happened? That was terrible.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know. I don't know if it was Boston's very hilly. I don't know
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
any of you guys have run
Mm-mm.
it, but
It-
they talk about the 4 hills. There are like
20?
15 hills.
Like
Yeah.
20?
And like
Right.
I just think like the heat,
Yeah.
my like nutrition strategy, I think the effort versus my pace that day was not good. And it just like made me nauseous. And so it was kind of a disappointment, but I had Chicago. I knew Chicago would be a better race for me anyways, just like course wise. So, and I like truly believe like, you know, I've been through this enough times where it's like I knew that whatever happened and how I crossed the finish line at Boston didn't take away from my training cycle, and that I get to carry that to the next one. So even though it wasn't like the finish time I wanted, like I know that work is going to set me up for starting my training cycle for Chicago and then hopefully getting a PR in Chicago. So
Nice.
it's kind of my
I feel
goal
like
right
Boston
now.
too. It's like I've done it several times, and it's like the experience is just
Yeah.
something that, like, when people talk about
Yeah.
wanting to go into Boston to PR, I'm like, because
Yeah.
it's a tough race.
Yeah.
And I feel like too, I don't know if you felt this way, but because there's so many people and so many people in the crowds from start to finish, like it like zaps my energy just being around that many people. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's so awesome, but at the same time, it's like, whew, the late start, the
Yeah.
like everyone,
I mean, if I could
everywhere.
give anyone like advice, or if I could go and do it again, I would totally like grab some girlfriends and make it a party, you know,
Yes.
because like I was less upset about my finish time and more upset that I like totally missed like the last 2 miles of the race, which is like
Yeah.
some of the coolest
Right.
parts of it. So, yeah, if I wish I could like go back and just like totally soak it all in a little bit better.
Yeah. Next time.
That's such a tough thing, especially about the like the majors and like that the build up to the day. I think that's why like you can get the marathon blues so bad sometimes afterwards, is like there's so much build up, and like if you don't enjoy every second of it, it's going to slip away, you know, and it's like it's just kind of a hard realization sometimes that it's like, okay, that was it and now it's over, and it's just water, baby. Nothing happened. It's just water. Um, that's
Tell
how
her that's
Chicago
what
was like mile 25. Someone
crocodiles
was
are.
like, soak it in. And I was like, what if I did it? Oh, and I did. I was fine, but I just couldn't. All of a sudden, I couldn't stop crying because I was like, "What if I miss the whole race? Like, what if I leave and I don't remember any of it?" But do you remember the middle of the race, or were you just kind of delirious from like the first few miles?
Yeah, I did like the Wesley Scream Tunnel, and I was like high-fiving everyone, and you know, I
That's
had a
awesome.
fun time. Like up until the hills, like
Mhm.
the Newton Hills, I had a good time, and then I started to slowly die.
Yeah, that's so relatable to anybody who's run a race. It's like, oh yeah, when you like feel like you're gonna just die. At one point yesterday, even I was like, I wonder if I'm going to get really ill after this, because I feel like that still wouldn't feel as bad as how I'm feeling right now. Like, I don't know what version of that I was thinking, but yeah, it's just so relatable.
I couldn't like I feel like everybody that talks about Boston, I'm like, you finished Boston. I don't care what time you finished in. The fact that you made it to Boston and you finished Boston, that should be praiseworthy. Because I literally like
Right.
hearing people's feedback on that course makes me never want to run it. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I have no Boston FOMO. I don't. I just like
Yeah.
it terrifies me. That course, you hear the death hills, and then you hear just like how, I mean, 90% of people I follow, I feel like every year are more disappointed after the race and are like, the hype was unreal. It's totally worth the first time experience, but it was rough. And I'm like, why would I want to go do that?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think too, like, you know, maybe not race it on your first time, because it's kind of a strategy race,
Yeah.
you know, where it's
Yes.
like you got to know the course a little bit to know what you're doing. And if you don't know the course, like there's a lot of ways you can go wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
That's wild. But it's awesome that you did it, and like especially just after having wanted to do it for so long, because like BQing is one thing and that's super exciting, and like I like the achievement of a BQ is just it's so awesome, and so many people want it and work so hard for it, and then they've qualified but then they can't go because of the buffer, which is like it really is such a heartbreaking thing to think about, like, like having to wait for them to come out and tell you what that buffer is, and like that you worked so hard for so long. So it's just such an achievement to be able to first qualify and then go right after you qualify, because you qualified in 2024, right? And then
Yeah.
you got to go the next year. So that's just so awesome.
Yeah.
And you BQ'd again, right? At Boston?
No.
Was this because they changed it, right?
Yeah, because
That's
they
right.
changed it.
Oh,
It's
I
crazy.
think it's a
that is crazy.
I think it's a 3:30 now for me, for my age.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It's so crazy how like fast it's mind blowing to me. Like every year I'm like, are they gonna drop it again another 5 years?
Yeah.
Next year, like by the time like it's 2030, it's gonna be a sub 3 for women to
I know.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
the male standard with this person I was talking to after the race yesterday, he was like, yeah, I ran a 3:20. Sorry. He ran a 3:20, but he was like, I was like, what is your Boston qualifying time? Because he was like, this is my dream. I want to go to Boston, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what is your time you have to get? And he goes 2:55. And I was like, well, that's very
Crazy.
fast, first of all. Like, it's just
Yeah.
a very fast time. Like, whether you're young or not, 2:55 is an insane time. And then I was like, what happened? Like, I mean, I was like curious, like what happened out there? Because 3:20, 2:55, and he was like, how am I ever going to get to that? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not a coach. You're just going to have to keep running. So, but those are getting fast. Those are crazy.
Yeah.
Well, people are getting fast.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so true. That's true.
Yeah.
That is.
So next up is Chicago. What is your training looking like right now? Like when will you start your next marathon build? And yeah, because we still have a good amount of time.
Yeah, I think I'm starting my next build in June, but then we're traveling all of July. So
Oh wow.
I'm more of like we go to Colorado, so I'm more like a trail run. Like I still run, but I don't like really follow a training schedule. So I don't know how that's gonna look, but I'm just gonna I'm not gonna try and like follow my training schedule while we're out of town. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna have fun with the running.
That's
good. We'll see what that looks like.
That's exciting.
I think that's so good for our listeners to hear, because it, like you said, we take ourselves so seriously when it comes to like those goals like running, and just reminding us like, hey, we can step back, we can have fun, we can have a season where we're just out there enjoying quality time, whether it's with our spouse or with our family on a trip, and like you're not gonna lose a ton of fitness. Like it may decline a little bit, but you'll get it back. Like it's not the end of the world if you take a couple weeks that are not following the training plan perfectly. And I think that's like, I love your approach. I feel like your approach to running is just so relaxed. It's so chill. And I hope that people that listen take that away from this and know that like they can train 3 times a week and that's plenty. And they can train off and on throughout the seasons, and they don't have to be like marathon after marathon after marathon, and yeah, I love that. Like I love that you talk about that so openly.
Yeah,
It
like
is
the
so
thing that I
refreshing.
always come back to is like no finish line time has like actually changed me. Like
It's so true.
whether it was
Such a good
whether it
point.
was my slowest marathon or my fastest half marathon, none of them have actually like crossing that finish line isn't what changed me. Like maybe the journey to get there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like the actual finish line never changed me. And then like the other thing is like most of us are not getting paid. We're not winning any of these races. We're not getting paid. So like, my thing is like, do I want to do good at Chicago? Of course. But like we go to Colorado. My favorite thing to do in the world is trail run. Like I can't really do that where we live.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
so I'm going to take advantage of that. And like, if that means I'm a couple of minutes slower in my marathon, then that's okay.
Exactly.
Not winning anyways. Not going to make any money off of it. We're good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Such a good perspective.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I love it.
Well, is there anything you want to leave with our audience? Any like tips or advice or last like little quotes or whatever like that you just want to leave with them?
I think more than anything, just like very passionate about, you know, getting out there and taking that time for you, and not necessarily at 4 a.m. before all your kids are awake, but like make space for yourself, like give the responsibility to someone else, whoever that might be, and take it, and like don't feel the guilt. Like it's okay to run when your kids are awake, you know, like so I think like that's like the thing. It's something that I like fought so hard for so long. And now that I've been able to be on the other side of it, I'm like, why did I shackle myself so much
Mhm.
in motherhood? And like it's just so freeing to give yourself that permission to take that time for you.
I love that. I love,
Yeah.
love it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Tess, for joining us. It was awesome. It's so great to hear other moms, especially a mom to 5 kids, and you know everything that you're doing has been so like it's been so motivating to follow your journey. I know for me, especially like I look at your journey, I'm like, oh, I relate so hard to that, like the 2 under 2, under 2, under 2, under 2. You know, I felt that when you were saying that. I was like, oh my gosh, like my postpartum depression is coming back just hearing that, but yeah, like I just like everything, like the way you approach it, your marriage, just your guys' fun banter that you show, the goods, the highs, the lows in your family and dynamic. It's very relatable, and yeah, we just admire you over here on the Miles of Moms podcast. So
Mhm.
Yes. Thank you
Well,
for
thank
all
you
you
so
do.
much for having me.
Of course.
Yeah.
all right, well, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Tess. This was so
Thank
nice.
you.